Good evening and welcome back to another edition of the Brothers-in-law. Uh, we're glad y'all here joining us tonight. If you don't know, I'm Corey Taylor and this is Michael Bradley. We're both former police officers. Uh, we come to have a good show tonight. We got a nice video that took place roughly probably almost about 2 years ago, but it's just making the scene. Uh, or I should say, is just making its rounds on the internet now
Yeah.
uh, of an unlawful arrest, and we're going to talk about that this evening, and then at the end, Mike and I will give you some pointers of what you could do or should do if you find yourself in this type of situation. So, welcome to the show tonight, Mike. And
All
you
right.
got anything
All
you
right.
want to say?
No, good to be back. Another show, another week. We doing it again for our viewers. We try to keep any biases or political views or any opinions like that out of it. And we just want to look at a police incident and hey, Meg,
Hey,
and
Meg.
just tell you guys what we think, whether it should have happened, whether it should not have happened, what we would have done having been in law enforcement. I was that officer on patrol responding to that kind of call, or every kind of call that you have come in. I will be the face that you would see. So naturally, me and Corey, we can tell you what we would have done in that situation. That's all. Good to be back. Thanks for joining in, and let's get it on.
And I think this is good, especially for moms to put out to their kids on situations like this.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
excuse me,
absolutely.
I'm getting over a cold, so if I cough, I'll go ahead and apologize ahead. But this I think this is especially good for mothers out there, to talk to your sons about. Now this took, like I said, took place about 2 years ago.
Hey,
Hey,
Stacey.
Stacy. 2 years ago in Texas, San Antonio, uh, it was a domestic call that came out, and the police had a description of the gentleman of who allegedly assaulted this woman, and they go to uh, find this individual, and they do, and then they have an interaction with him. So when we go through this video, as usual, we'll break it down step by step. But I want you to keep in mind is something, and this is going to be key here, Mike. The
Okay.
CALM acronym.
Mm, mm.
What would have happened if he would have stuck to uh, that acronym?
Yeah.
What's up,
Now,
Saul? What's going on, baby?
hey, Saul.
Thanks.
Now, clear. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. If I understood what the information on this call, ultimately, it turned out that this guy that the police stopped was not the suspect, right? Ultimately, uh,
Ultimately, yes,
but
yeah, he was not the suspect.
now, I only say that because in the beginning, when they first stopped him, that doesn't make any difference as far as his actions, as far as the police officer's actions, and as far as his actions go. I only
Right.
say that just for clarification at the end of it, and we can talk about that too. But yeah, whenever you're ready.
What's up, Frank? I'm sorry, man. I don't know why you didn't get the notification, man. But thank you for joining us, though, brother.
Hey, Frank.
Um, yeah. Hold on. Let me go ahead and set it
Sure.
up.
So it's an interesting one. And it's a good one to bring up because you got a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
people, that come into that whole you stop
Also,
me
too.
and I didn't do nothing type deal.
Also, too, Mike. I want the audience to pay attention to the guy in the background. Uh, I guess you could say commentating. This actually came from another channel, the Young Turks. I don't know anything about them. I other than they're a very political group that I
Mm.
don't follow. But they had this video, and I thought it was very interesting. But listen to how he's speaking, and tell us what you think about how he's narrating this incident and how it can be misinterpreting why people view police in a certain way based on, how we said in a few videos ago, particularly the one where the guy was buying a bike in the Walmart and people caught it on the back end, and you already developed your opinion of what happened. You don't even know what led up to it. But keep that in mind as we go through this.
Description of what I'm looking for. What's your name? What's your name? Why? Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Okay. Well, you said, just come here. We're trying to figure this out, man. You what?
I'm working out. I'm doing a run.
I just got a call for family violence. What's your name, dude?
I'm not giving my name. I'm just here working out.
Okay, if that's all it is, I
Then
just
let
need
me
to get your
go.
name. That's not. I need to know your
I'm not
name.
giving you my name. I don't have to give you my name.
The San Antonio Police Department pulled this on an innocent man.
Okay, why are you acting like this, man?
Because I'm working out and you're bothering me. I'm being bothered on a
Because
fucking
you
normal
match the
run.
description of somebody that just choked your
Description.
girl.
Sorry about that, Frank. Bad echo. I hear you.
All I need to know is your name.
Damn, dude, what the damn run?
All I need to know is any kind of information you got.
I don't have any information to give to you. I'm on the run.
What's your name then?
You're not getting that information.
Okay, well then you're gonna be detained right now. Okay,
Okay, for what?
for being a suspect for status violence until I figure out who you are.
I'm going to stop it right there, Mike.
Okay. I'm gonna put you in the back of my car, okay? Because you want to act like
I muted my mic for a minute there because I think with my mic on, the audio from the video might be causing an echo. So when the video
okay.
turns on, I just mute my mic. That's all. But go ahead.
So, a couple things right there. You saw that the police officers stopped him. They had the right to do that because, hey, Ms. Taylor, they had to do their investigation to see if this is the guy that they're actually looking for.
Yeah.
Now in Texas, from what I understand, they don't have to say anything, which is fine.
Yeah, that really is fine.
You don't have to say anything. What's up, Tone?
Hey, Tone.
You don't have to say you don't have to say anything, right?
Right.
But you also have to keep in mind too that the police have to do their job. They have to do the investigation. And why is that important, Mike?
Well, real quick, not to sidetrack, but me and Corey, I'm thinking of this. Keep in mind for our viewers, we are thinking of this as I'm the officer responding to this call and I am in the situation. This is what I would do, Well, people always say, match the description or they fit the description. As I was saying to you before, Corey, that whole phrase has become like a punchline nowadays. You match the description. Oh yeah, I matched the description, right? You know what I'm saying? It's become a punchline. And that's unfortunate because a whole lot of what police do is based on a description. If you get this call for service of a domestic violence situation that just happened and the suspect left the scene or not left the scene, one of the first things I'm going to ask as an officer responding to that call is, what does the suspect look like? So yeah, that's going to be a very common thing in all police work for that matter. When you respond to the call for service, I need to know what he was wearing. What, the yellow shirt, dark pants, shorts, whatever you can tell me. It's based off of the description. And if I'm rolling that call and I do an area search of that suspect who left the scene, well, yeah, naturally, I'm going to stop somebody who matched the description of what was given to me. Now that person that I stopped may or may not be involved, but I'm only stopping them initially because they match the description. Yes, that's true. That's not just the punchline, folks. That is something that we actually work off of. Obviously, we don't know the suspect, even if we have the suspect's name. If he's still in the area, well, what does he look like? We got to stop him. We have to investigate this domestic violence. You see what I'm saying? So naturally, I'm gonna have to stop someone if they match the description. You know what I'm saying, Corey?
Yeah, and also keep in mind, and this has happened to me before. Not in this was in a pursuit that I had got into, and ended up taking a warrant out on the guy and ended up being the wrong guy. Right? It was one tattoo off. Right? So it happens, but when it comes to these descriptions, I mean, they're very vague, right? Especially if
Sometimes, yeah, a lot of times they are vague. But
especially
sometimes they ain't vague. Sometimes, yeah, the guy actually does match what they said. You see what I'm saying?
yeah, especially if the victim is traumatized,
Mhm.
they may, their mind is not, right here in the moment, and so they're just rattling off stuff. We don't know if that could have been this case because it has been said that the victims said that he had a scruffy beard. Well, and
Okay.
this gentleman's beard was prolonged. He had a very long beard.
Okay.
So now we don't know if these were the officers that were there. Were they en route to assist, and they gave the description of black male, 6 foot something height, 200 something pounds, green shirt, gray jogging pants with a beard, right?
Right.
Lines of communications can get mixed up in
Sure.
these types
Sure.
of situations. But if you're in that vicinity and you got, like you just said, Mike, and that call came out in that area, the police are obligated to do the investigation.
That's right. I mean,
We,
and
we
this has happened to me several times throughout my career as a police officer. I've stopped people because they match the description of a suspect, of someone that I'm looking for. You see what I'm saying? And there have been times where the person that I stop, they understand why I'm stopping them, or they may not. They may be upset about me stopping them. I've had that too. You see what I'm saying? But the way I normally handle it is the first thing I'm going to say is, I'm stopping you because you do match the description of someone that I'm looking for, and I need to investigate a crime. Okay, I say that up front so there's no confusion about why I'm stopping you. Now, in my mind as the officer, I know that, well, there's a possibility that you may not be the person I'm looking for. That's what I have to find out. Okay. And the way I find that out is we do an infield show up. And I'm not going to get into too much of that yet because we're going to watch the rest of this video.
yeah,
And I'm going to bring that conversation up. But this is a very common situation that officers face when they're dealing with looking for someone who matches the description.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because we know that you may or may not be, or sometimes we might look at you and you match the description so much that, oh, you got to be this person I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or I might know you or something and say, yeah, that's him, or her.
And that was my case. I was like, yeah, this is the dude here. That matter of fact, me and the Commonwealth attorney both are like, yeah, that's him. And end up being wrong. It happens, and it's our responsibility to get it right. But
you're right.
we
does
are
happen.
human. We do make mistakes, right?
Yeah.
So we can keep this moving, Mike.
Okay, and real quick, you're right. It does happen that we might have the wrong dude. And what I do in that situation, if I got the wrong dude, I'll look at him and say, hey, man, apologize for taking up your time. I appreciate your cooperation. Turns out I confirmed you're not the person I'm looking for. You are free to go. And that's it.
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Right here. No, you're not. You're going to let my car sit right here. I ain't doing it. You're going to sit right there in the grass. You're going to go on the beat. You want to be acting like this? Anyway. All I need to know is your name. Let's do it to you. I'm just. I want to give you information.
Okay, you're going to sit in the car, okay? Until we get this all figured out, okay? Because we don't want to act like...
No, don't tell me anything that I'm doing wrong. I'm not doing anything that I'm doing wrong. That's so. Did I break a rule?
The absurdity of criminalizing someone who fits the description is mind-blowingly psychotic.
And I'm sorry, that's one of those commercials getting ready to come up on it, but that's pretty much now he fights them getting in the car. Yeah, cut your mic back on, Mike.
Why doesn't every home in the U.S. have solar panels? The number one reason is not about...
I hate these commercials.
So you don't have the rest. You don't have the rest of that footage there, Corey, or that's after this
Yeah,
commercial?
yeah, it's after this commercial.
Okay. Well,
I,
we can
but
set that up real quick because what happens is, based on him not refusing to get into the car, they start struggling with this guy. A fight ensues, getting him into the car. So, and we, I want to talk about that a little bit of whether or not, that's an issue in my mind as a former police officer. I believe that physical confrontation could have been avoided by the police. I do believe that, and I'm gonna tell you why after we look at that part of the video.
well, hold on. My thing is, it didn't even have to go. Hold on, I got to get it back set up again.
Oh, okay.
It didn't have to go that far. I understand in Texas, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to give them any information. I get that, but why could he not have Mike
Given a name?
Yeah.
Well, I'll always say, just because in some cases you are not required to give your name. If you,
but this whole situation could have been alleviated.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give my name. If an officer asks me for my name, I'm gonna give him my name. I don't have anything to hide, especially if I know I'm not doing anything wrong. Sure, you can have my name, date of birth. You can run me in the system, see if I got any warrants. I don't care. You see what I'm saying? That's me personally. I don't care about giving a police officer my name. It's only those individuals, those citizens who they have a chip on their shoulder. I don't have to give you my name, therefore I'm not going to give you my name. But remember what I said, police officers are not robots. They're stopping you because they're investigating the crime, okay? If you just think of it that way of, look, I know I'm not involved in this crime, so I'm going to give this officer whatever he or she needs, so that they can see I'm not involved in this and I can move on. You see what I'm saying? That's my mentality, and I wish citizens would have that mentality instead of just saying, I don't have to give you my name and I'm not giving you my name. Okay.
Right. So, Tony says this goes back to the age-long discussion of driving while black. Yeah, but here's the thing. Like, we talk about escalating and de-escalating, and I think by him not just giving, like, what should a reasonable person do in this type of situation?
Well, that's a good point. A reasonable person, a reasonable citizen.
I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you my name, especially if I know I didn't do anything wrong. I'm gonna help the officer out.
Yeah, I'm gonna help you out.
Him being put in handcuffs should have never had happened if he would have just gave his name. Because once they would have seen his,
maybe not. I can't really say that.
I'm sure they've got the woman's name. She disclosed his name to them, right? So they know who they would be interacting with, to know that that was him. If he would have just gave his name, he probably wouldn't have had gone this far. But by not giving your name, you put the officer in a pickle, because now this officer has to think, okay, well, maybe this is he is the guy I'm looking for, and now he's being very defensive because he don't want to give me his name because he knows we're looking for him.
Okay, so by pickle you mean it in the officer's mind, it creates a little bit more suspicion that this person may be the suspect. Okay, if you're refusing to give me your name, okay, well then now you're making me look at you. I need to investigate more. You're really just causing that officer to feel like they have to investigate more, which they do, obviously. And I agree with that. Frank says the officer just jumped to being the law instead of treating the man with respect. He says, personally, if I'm being treated with respect as a person, I'd give my info. Frank, I agree with you in the sense that you do need to treat them with respect. As an officer, I always said communication skills are important. There's a time to be authoritative, and there's a time not to be authoritative. You see what I'm saying? Now, in this situation, once that guy refused to give me his name, well, obviously I'm detaining him. I might put handcuffs on you because I don't know if you're a suspect or not. You see what I'm saying? I'll put handcuffs on you. Now, Corey, we got to set up to where they start fighting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's
But
watch that.
you don't actually see the fighting, but yeah, we'll get to
You kind of start. Okay.
Because you don't want to act like
No, don't tell me anything that I'm doing wrong. I'm not doing anything that I'm doing wrong. That's so. Did I break a rule?
The absurdity of criminalizing someone who fits the
All right,
description
we gotta get through this ad, y'all.
mind-blowingly psychotic.
Oh, okay. You can't fast forward through the ad.
No, you gotta let it count down.
Okay. I see.
Here we go.
But remains in their methodology, albeit a flawed approach.
you don't have any kind of idea or anything on it.
I'm sent to a search. I'm not searching you. You're searching. No, you're not fixing it. You're touching my shorts.
Why are you acting like this, man? Why do you think? Why do you think?
Pause it for a sec.
It's got a gun box on my day.
Okay, now the search part, if you detain, I can pat you, what we call pat you down for weapons.
Pat down.
I may not go in your pockets, okay, but I can pat down the outside of your clothing to make sure you don't have any weapons. Obviously, if I'm about to put you in my car or if I'm detaining you for any length of time, I'm going to pat you down at least to make sure you don't have nothing on you that can hurt me. You see what I'm saying?
That's purely officer safety.
A pat down is different from going in someone's pockets and pulling stuff out. When I'm patting you down, I'm feeling to see if I feel anything in there that could be a weapon. Okay, so citizens need to understand that difference there between searching someone and patting someone down. That's all.
So again, even this officer is still saying, dude, why are you acting this way? All you had to do is give me your name. And he's still
Okay. I hear you, Corey. But in this situation, in Texas, since they don't legally have to give them their name, you see what I'm saying? I can't use that to say then we need to escalate something necessarily. You know
okay,
what I'm saying?
let's define the escalating. I mean, because
Okay.
I think that's where we have a little difference here.
All right.
I don't see this officer is doing any escalating here.
Okay.
Because for me escalating now, I'm ready to go. I'm going hands on you.
Up to this point, you mean, right?
Up to this point, he's still having his calm, reasonable persona about himself. He's not cursing. He's not, belittling the guy. Not calling the guy out of his name or anything like that.
Okay.
He simply said, "Dude, all you have to do is just give me your name." And he's the one being combative here. Like, I'm not. Okay, fine. I understand. That's Texas law. That's Texas law. You don't want to give me that. Now I have to do my job. I have to find out who you are. I have to find out if a crime has been committed, and you're the one I'm looking for. Right?
I hear you. And I hear what you're saying. The thing
Matt,
is,
thanks for joining us.
Yeah, the thing is, if I know legally you don't have to give me your name, although I agree that any normal, average, reasonable citizen, I wouldn't have a problem giving an officer my name. But in this case, since once the officer legally knows he doesn't have to give him a name and he refuses to give him his name, you can still continue with the rest of the investigation without his name at this point, based on what's going on here. That is based on this kind of call for service, this kind of stop. You can continue with an infield show up. Now, once you have probable cause that this person, in fact, is the suspect, and you about to be arrested, well, obviously, then you have to get.
All right. So let me tell you how I would have handled this.
Okay.
I had stopped him. I'd have probably done a better job explaining why I'm stopping him. Hey, listen, man, we just got a call came in, uh, a domestic call came in. The lady's telling us that you matching the description. Where we just need to verify your identity to see if you're the one we're looking for. If not, hey, you're on your way. Right now,
True.
we could. You could still left him in the car. I agree with you. I would not have removed him from where I detained him because he's not under arrest. I'd have left him there. I would have brought the woman to the scene, not directly up to him, but a distance away where she could still get a good view of him and say, yes, this is him, or no, it's not. Now, the problem with that is in the article, excuse me, it said that they couldn't bring her to where they had him detained because she had the kids at home or whatnot, so they couldn't do that. Well, you're police. You can make something happen.
You got to make arrangements for that.
You got to make arrangements, and you bring her over there to verify. Hey, this is this, and apparently the guy was her husband or boyfriend or something.
So if they would have, if this guy, that's a good point, because if this guy would have given the officers his name and was able to identify himself, they would have known right away that this ain't it. If that was the case, if it was her husband, they would have known right away.
Now you see where I'm coming from.
Brush him off twice first. You can go. Okay, I see what you're saying.
You see what I'm saying? All right, we got a couple comments here. Matt says this goes back to Minnesota case with Mr. Floyd. The end result was unlawful, but many events led up to the final outcome. Some of that was caused by Mr. Floyd. Yeah, in here.
Yeah, and here was a little different. I think because this guy they were looking for a domestic violence suspect. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
More serious crime. Obviously, they need to know if this guy is a suspect or not, and they need to still be safe with this guy. Take officer safety measures, communicate with him tactfully, okay, until they confirm that he is not the suspect. Now he ends up getting to a struggle with these officers because he didn't get into the car like they directed him to. Now, you know, if I'm an officer and I'm detaining you, I can make you move positions to the point that makes it safe. Okay. Now, but in this case, you know, they had handcuffs on the guy. My thing here is I don't believe it was necessary to force him into the patrol vehicle. I believe that they could have just let him stand there right there in the grass, right there at the spot. You see what I'm saying? Now I understand they put him in there because they're getting ready to drive him to the victim so that the victim can look at him and physically identify him as a suspect. Okay. And like you said, Corey, out here in California, we call that an infield show up. And an infield show up, we leave the person who we stopped. They stay right there where we stopped them. And we have to bring the victim to them. You don't have to give me your name, but I'm going to detain you and keep you here while we conduct an infield show up. And at that point, we bring the victim over to where I am, and the victim can identify this guy or not. You see what I'm saying? There's no getting in my car. There's none of that. If you don't want to get in the car, that's fine. You can stand right here on the grass. Okay. But the fact is, you're detained. I'm not letting you go until I verify whether or not you're the suspect. And people need to understand that. If the officer wants to stay there, you stay there. See what I'm saying?
Again, my whole point is it shouldn't even got to this point. I understand, and this is why viewers, you need to know what your laws are in the cities in which you live. Be smart, like Alyssa says here. If people will get out of the police are out to get them mentality and just work with them instead of against them, then stops would go smoothly. That would be
absolutely
that. And you have to you have to use common sense here. And so when we look at situations like this is why we came up with the acronym of CALM. What can you do to ensure that you don't end up in a situation like this where you need to stay calm? And what does that mean? Comply, answer questions, listen, and you get to move on. This guy should never have been put in handcuffs if he would just stuck to the acronym of CALM.
Yeah,
He should never.
like if he'd have given his name,
If
right
he would
there.
have, he'd have just
That's
given
all.
his name.
And if he had identified himself to me properly to say, yeah, I'm not the person. See you later. Bye. Appreciate your time.
Right, and excuse me. We get into these situations where we have to be combative. Like you got that. Like I forget, one of the comments said earlier. You know, you got that. I'm out to get you mentality, that you're automatically marked because you're a black man, and the police are out here just to harass you and pick on you this day. That like they just woke up this morning and said, yeah, we're gonna go get this black guy right here and harass him and put him in handcuffs and throw him in the car. A lot of times police have to do investigative work, and that's their job. And citizens, I mean, we have to, like we said in previous videos, Mike, you know, it's a two-way street. We have to work together, right? Police work for you, the citizens, right? And we have to get out of this mentality that, you know, all the cops want to do is just harass black people and throw black people in the back of the car, or just gun them down like famous basketball player would say.
I think you got a lot of attitudes from citizens where they feel that their first position is to challenge and argue with the officers on the street. That's their first position. I'm not giving you my name. You can't do that. I'm not doing that. I don't care what you say. I'm not doing that. And what we want to, the biggest message I want to tell citizens is don't have that attitude, because if you do come across that officer that's a bad cop, or that officer that may be overzealous, that officer that may be heavy-handed, or whatever it is, then you could get yourself into some mess that you wish wouldn't have happened. Both the officer and you wished wouldn't have happened. You see what I'm saying? Whether it's right or wrong, some things could be escalated unnecessarily. So I want to tell you what you can do to stop that from escalating. You see what I'm saying? And give you some insight on the officers did. In this particular case, these officers didn't do anything wrong up to this point because they were investigating domestic violence. True, nothing wrong with that. As a citizen, we can't argue that. Doesn't make sense for us to argue against that. The officers are doing their due diligence by looking for a suspect. They come across the guy that matches the description. Okay. Now, you're not going to just drive by that person, are you? You see what I'm saying? As an officer, if I see someone that matches that description, I'm going to stop him. I'm not just going to drive by. Oh, we just let him go. It ain't, that ain't him. You see what I'm saying? No, we're going to stop him. So they didn't do anything wrong there. Okay. Whether it's legal or not in the state of Texas for a citizen to refuse identification to an officer, they reasonably tried to identify this person that they were stopping. What is your name? Do you have any identification? If I was the officer, yeah, that's quite common. That's exactly what I would do. If I can get your name and identification, I can solve this problem right now and say whether or not you're the suspect that I'm looking for. Especially in this case, since the suspect was the husband of the reporting party. So, yeah, you don't have to give me your name, but now you just slow things down a little by not giving me your name, because now I need to confirm that you're not the suspect some other kind of way. You see what I'm saying? Which would entail an infield show up. Very normal, very common in police work, infield show ups. Oftentimes, the suspect is no longer next to the victim on these calls for service. So you got to look for them. Okay? So go ahead, Corey.
And Matt says, I understand you don't discuss politics here, but a parent But apparent politics are at play in this response. A narrative is at play. Uh, I see where you headed with it.
I see where you're headed with it, but I don't even want to go there because the whole. I think I see where you're going with Matt. But the whole thing is, the fact remains, and you jump and correct me if you're wrong, Corey. If I'm wrong, Corey, but the fact remains, this is a situation, call for service. These officers had to stop this guy because he matched the description. They reasonably tried to identify him. They couldn't, so they had to do an infield show up. Apparently, in the state of Texas, they can take this suspect over to the victim if the victim is incapacitated or something like that, right? This guy in the green shirt, maybe he didn't know that. Maybe he didn't care about that. The only thing he had in his mind was, I'm just working out and I'm being harassed by the police. He didn't think that, well, dang, they got to do their job. Unfortunately, I matched the description. Maybe he didn't believe he matched the description. I don't know. You said what was in his mind?
Right. Maybe he didn't. Maybe, and then I get what Matt is saying. In his mind, this is what he's been told by what he sees on TV and how the police interact with blacks. And so now, whoever
and matching the description, like I said, has become a punchline nowadays.
And matching the description is that punchline. And now he finds himself in that situation. He's not probably thinking, oh, well, maybe I need to be a reasonable person here. Just, all right, let me just go ahead and clear this up. Hey, no, this is who I am. My name, date of birth. Clearly, you got the wrong person. I get a lot of times, you don't want to. And again, like you said, this is Texas. So you have that right not to give them any information. I mean, you have right anywhere to do that. You have the right to remain silent. There's a lot of lawyers out there. There's a lot of lawyers out there would tell you to keep your mouth shut, don't say that. But one of the other comments was, police still gonna have to have a job to do, whether you say something or not. They're gonna have it. They got to do the job, right?
As impatient as this guy was,
they have to do their investigation. They have to see whether or not a crime was committed. And what's up, Preston? And if you're not going to cooperate, then other things are going to end up happening. So,
right. You slowing down the investigation. In this case, like you said, even though it was not unlawful for this guy to refuse to identify himself, what did it do? It caused an extended contact with him. It caused an extended investigation. If he would have given his name, they would have known right away, oh, this isn't the guy. This is not her husband. You see what I'm saying? This is not who we're looking for. Now, in this case, I think this guy didn't have physical identification on him, which is fine when you walk and if you ain't got your physical identification. If you give me your name and date of birth, and most people know their driver's license number, I can put you up on a computer in the patrol car and find a picture of you on the screen, so I can look at you and verify that that's who you are. You see what I'm saying? So, always initial. These officers had to still do what they had to do. The only thing I disagreed with was you could avoid getting to a physical confrontation just by forcing him in the car at this time, at this moment. But out here in California, like I said, we ain't gonna move the suspect. We're gonna bring the victim to the suspect. Texas, maybe that's different.
Getting him into the car. I mean, at this point, they're asking him to get in the car. You're refusing to get in the car. Then, all right, I'm going to put you in that car. That's just how we
do that.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell you maybe one or two times, and then you're going to get some assistance in getting in that car, right? So
especially
I don't
a situation where I have to make the scene safe. And Corey, you can talk about this. What if he was out there on the highway, cars buzzing by at 80 miles an hour, right? You ain't gonna have him standing outside the car like that. You're gonna put him in the car to keep him safe. You don't want nobody
You're
to
gonna get in the car.
nobody get hit by no car out here.
No, yeah, exactly. What's up, Goat? Yeah, you're gonna get in that car whether you want to or not at this point. And like I said, it shouldn't. My biggest thing now, again, it never should have got this far. He should never even be put in handcuffs if he would have just given his name. Again,
I agree with you, Matt.
What's that? What did you say?
He says it's a double-edged sword. He said if you
Yeah.
know the law says no requirement to give your name, then you should understand police will respond in kind. Yeah. If you don't give me your name, I might be in a situation where I have to determine who you are some other way. And if that's an infield show up, then so be it. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going to slow it down. And it's not that I'm just going to automatically let you go because you didn't give me your name. I need to investigate the reason why I stopped you for in the first place, no matter what. And it is a double-edged sword because the community will look at this here and say, wow, they stopped this dude who's just working out on the road. Well, that's not it. And they said, oh, they stopped this dude and got into a fight with him when he wasn't even a suspect. Well, they got into a fight with him because he refused to get into the car like they told him to get into the car. You see what I'm saying? Not because
and he ended up kicking. So he ended up getting a couple charges out of this. With one was being assault on a police officer. He ends up kicking the police officer. See, at that point. So now, question, Mike, who then is escalating this situation?
Well, you can make the argument that the citizen now is escalating this just because he's refusing to do what the officers are telling him to do. The point whether or not he's the suspect in the domestic violence case is a separate issue now. You see what I'm saying? It turns out he was not the suspect in that domestic violence case, but based on his actions at the scene, I guess according to Texas law anyway, based on his actions at the scene, he broke some laws just by that contact with the police that had nothing to do with the domestic violence case, right?
Yeah. Devon says that dude turned nothing into something easily preventable. Absolutely
true. True.
We may differ on some things here tactically, Mike, but at the end of the day, I don't think this guy shouldn't even have been put in handcuffs if he would have just simply just given his name. Yeah, now he had his last few days of his life, in an uproar, being in jail for a couple of days, and then having these charges put on him. But at the end of the day, all the charges were dropped, and also too the investigation showed that the police officers didn't do anything wrong. I know some of y'all would have an issue with that. However, this is why Mike and I are trying to explain this. What would two reasonable officers do? And again, you got two different points of views of what both of us would do in a situation like this. I mean, I agree with you. However, Mike, when it's all about tax, how you approach the guy. Explain the situation, and that's one thing I could probably say that they didn't do. Okay, but that's not an end all. I mean, you're not gonna get fired
because if they stopping you,
why you got stopped,
right?
But I think that could have been handled a little better. Speaking to him, letting him know what the deal is. And maybe then by doing that, maybe he would have given up his name.
Maybe.
And not coming out so combative like he did.
We both can tell you, me and Corey both can tell you, sometimes you can be as nice as you want to somebody. If they want to say screw you, they're gonna say screw you. I've had them both.
Oh yeah.
I've had times where I wasn't authoritative at all to the person and trying to get their information, and they still didn't want to cooperate with me. You see what I'm saying? They still had a something up there behind where they just didn't want to go with the program, and that unfortunately that happens all too often in police work. But folks understand. I mean, when the police are stopping you, they're stopping you for a reason. They're not targeting you for nothing. You see what I'm saying? In this case, and when they say match the description, don't think of that lightly. Yeah, oftentimes I've stopped people simply because they matched the description that was given to me of somebody that I'm looking for. And once I find out that you are or are not the suspect, if you're not the suspect I'm looking for, once I've confirmed that, I'm gonna brush you off. Sorry for taking up your time, and I'm gonna send you on your way. I'm not trying to hang anybody up that I don't need to. You see what I'm saying? And I think citizens need to understand that and be patient. If you know you didn't do nothing, but they stopped you anyway, be patient. Don't create a more hostile situation or a more hostile contact than what it already is. You see what I'm saying? People don't like to be stopped by the cops, especially when they didn't do nothing. I understand that.
Right.
Me and Corey understand that very well. You see what I'm saying? But that doesn't change the position that those officers are in. They still got to do their job. Some of them are nicer than others. Okay, I'll give you that. But don't create more hostility than there already is in that police contact. That's all I'm saying. In this case, if the guy it would have been it. What do you think, Corey?
No, you're 100% correct, man, and that's what we just want everybody to understand. The police they have a job to do, right? And it's not that they want to stop you just because they want to. It's like Mike said, they're just trying to do their job and investigate a potential crime if something has happened. So, hey, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so, and share this out far and wide. And so now we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up, and let's talk about real quick, Mike. What can citizens do if they ever find themselves in this type of situation?
Cooperation goes a long way. Even if you don't have to give them your name, give them your name. You know what I'm saying? You want to make this contact with the police go as smooth as possible. And it can go as smooth as possible with your cooperation, that is. You see what I'm saying? If you know you didn't do anything wrong, try not to get impatient with these officers that are stopping you. You're already being stopped unwanted, right? You don't like that. We understand that. But just give them what they need. The quicker you give them what they need and answer any questions, the quicker you can move on. That was calm, comply, answer questions. That's what we mean by answer questions. We're not saying answer questions in every case because you legally don't have to. We're saying answer questions because you're not talking to robots. You're talking to individual people who are trying to investigate something that's going on. And they need to investigate that by you answering their questions. And once they determine what they determine, they take their action and they move on or whatever happens. But comply, answer questions, listen, so you can move on. This guy would have moved on probably a long time ago if he'd have just identified himself and they would have determined that he's not the one they're looking for. You see what I'm saying?
And so to the moms out there, I would say just talk to your young teenage son or young adult son to just stay calm, right?
Yeah.
If you know you did nothing wrong, all you need to do is stay calm. Don't freak out.
Yeah.
If they're doing an investigation, allow them to do their investigation. Because like I always say, and that's the whole point behind the acronym of CALM. If you're doing these things, you make it a lot harder for that officer to do any harm to you because you're doing what he's asking you to do.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the point of staying calm. So to talk to your young son and your daughters, about staying calm, compliant, answer questions, listen, and move on.
And if you don't,
I just totally believe, Mike, that this guy should never have been put in handcuffs had he just stayed calm. Yeah, and like Saul said, it's not us versus them. We're all in this together, and you're absolutely right. It's always it's like I said. I think in our second video, it's a two-way street, right? We both gotta play a role in this. Police stopping you for whatever reason, we as a citizen, and I say we as a citizen now because we're citizens now. We have to cooperate with the police. Hey, I'm pulling you over. Okay, fine.
and just
What do
like
you
Miss
need?
Taylor said, she says us moms need to put it in our children's minds to be respectful when stopped by police. Yeah, that's true, Miss Taylor. I agree with that. Unfortunately, the way the climate is today, I think you got parents and the media who are trying to. It's almost like they're teaching people you don't have to cooperate with the police, or you don't have to do what they tell you to do, and that's a dangerous thing right there. You see what I'm saying? That's not something that we want to have. I wouldn't want my sons to have an attitude that's already confrontational with police. Give them whatever they need, whenever they need, so you can get on about it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, Meg. To the smart mouth daughters as well. You want to be so quick to snap off, and and I'll be honest with you, that used to piss me off more than anything when you got a smart. Forgive me for saying this, y'all. When you got that smart ass woman that wants to
and you
for
say
whatever
that
reason,
because Megan mentions daughters too. That's the only reason why.
right? Yeah, you got that, and then you just have to. Okay, hold on. Let me take a step back, ma'am. Everything all right? I said, why are you talking to me like that? I'm not talking to you in that tone of voice. I didn't raise my voice and not cursing at you, but you calling me everything under the sun. And you just like, where's the respect? Like, I get it. We just interrupted your whole day, right? For whatever reason, I'm
Oh, that was
stopping.
Stacy that made that. I'm sorry, I thought that was your mom, Corey, that made that. I was Stacy that made that comment.
You good? You good?
You're right, Stacey. I agree.
Yeah. We had a few on FTO. That's right.
No, yeah.
But you have to talk to your young son or daughters about. Listen, just be calm. Find out what the problem is. Answer their questions. If you didn't do anything wrong, fine. If you did do something wrong, stay calm. Get the ticket and move on. It shouldn't end up in you getting hurt or the police officer getting hurt, whatever the case may be. And if you find that you've been unjustly or unlawfully arrested and violated, then you do the right thing and you lawyer up. Get you a lawyer.
Or go to court. That's right. You fight those battles in court, not on the street. That is not the place to be arguing the law with police officers is on the street. No, you argue the law in court.
Yep. You do it in court. And I used to have to tell a lot of people, look, we're not gonna hold court on the side of the road. This is not where we're gonna do this. Right? Because if I had to put that clipboard down on the interstate, you coming out that car. Believe that. I'm not gonna do that with you on the side of the road. And people can get that, and it's not that the police officer being a butthole to you or anything like that. It's dangerous up there. Well, for us on the interstate, but even if I got you on the side of the road on a main road in the city, I'm not gonna do this with you on the side of any road. It's just you, like you said, Mike, not on the side of the road. You handle your business in the court.
That's right, Tones. It does go back to the upbringing. You're right. And it is what it is. But at least this way, we can pick out police incidents and give you reasons why things happened the way they did in that particular incident. That's all. And then, like I say, like me and Corey say all the time, if we agree with it, we'll tell you. If we don't agree with it, we'll tell you. No problem. You know what I'm saying? This case, in this particular incident in Texas, the only thing I hope viewers take away from this is to just kind of look at the citizen side and see how they could have better responded to that. The officer side, I think Corey and I both went over and told you maybe the communication could have been a little better with these officers and explain to this guy, listen, I'm stopping you, which is what I would do. I'm stopping you because I'm investigating a domestic violence. I need to determine if you're the suspect or not. Now, if I say that, some officers may not say that right away because they think if they say that might trigger something for this suspect to take off on it. Oh, I'm the domestic violence person. Let me get up out of here. You see what I'm saying? They feel that it could create an unsafe situation if I just right out the gate tell you that you're a suspect. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Which is fine. Whatever tactics, you might see some different tactics that way. Me, I like to tell them right out the gate, I'm stopping you for this reason, and I need you to do what I'm telling you to do, period.
Yep.
You want to identify yourself? Okay, I'm going to find out who you are one way or another. Okay. Yeah. If I got to arrest you, well, you're going to have to. There have been plenty of times, Corey, right? We arrest people and they still don't identify themselves until they get fingerprinted.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. You had to take them down to lock up to figure out who they are.
Yeah.
You know
it is what it is. So if you're an average citizen, you ain't got nothing to hide. You following that CALM acronym, give them your name. Ain't got no problem with that. Whatever you need, officer. Because I'm trying to get out of here. I don't want no more issues or hostility here. I'm trying to move on. Yep. And the way to do that is just cooperate, comply, answer questions, listen,
and move on. Move on. So, again, like, share, and subscribe to our channel over on YouTube if you haven't done so already, and let us know what you think about this video. If you were the officers, what would you have done? What else?
No.
What else am I missing, Mike?
No, that's it. That's it.
That's it. Hey,
welcome your comments. If there's something else, that you think that should have happened or you would have or wouldn't have done, if you want to make a comment on that, feel free.
Yeah. Oh, so what? You like this shirt, Preston? He said. He said he I'm about to go buy the shirt for him and Devon. That same shirt he's wearing. Yeah, man. I actually made these, man.
Yeah. It's got the acronym on the back.
Yeah. Shoot. I wish I had another one, but I got the acronym CALM on the back, man. So thank y'all for watching, man. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. And tell a friend to join the conversation. I think this was a good conversation, man. And we'll be back next week with another one. I think next week, Mike, will just maybe invite somebody on and do a little round table next week. What you think?
We can do that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have something for you, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Yeah.
It's always hopefully it's something that we can enlighten somebody with, or maybe we learn something. We love these comments because we get to hear what some citizens would be thinking about the same situation that we're looking at. So thanks for the comment and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.